Glorioski friends, new and old, welcome to my new reaction show where we will watch TV programs from a bygone era. If you've never seen my face before, my name is Neil, and I'm dating myself. So we're doing something new today, which is to watch classic wrestling matches from the entirety of television wrestling history. Before we get into what we're watching today, I'll ask you to check out Patreon, where you can get early access to episodes, uncut episodes, plus more things like, just because I like to keep you busy. And, that's how things roll here. So for those of you who haven't picked this up over however long you've been watching me, I'm a very recent wrestling fan. I'd say I'd started watching wrestling maybe 3 or 4 years ago at most. And I remember going to a wrestling match when I was a very young child, like in the 1970s. I am a fan of AEW, which is a very recent development in wrestling history. I think they started just a little bit after I started watching. And when I started watching wrestling, I started by watching the first 30 WrestleMania events and some other tidbits that I'd sort of collected from various spots. But I'm a really, really new wrestling fan, compared to lots of people who watched in their childhoods. Like, I had friends who would watch wrestling and I'd kind of like roll my eyes at it. This was in the classic WWF era, like the Hulk Hogan stuff. Like, I do remember that, from being a youth, but like I didn't watch it. So many different eras of wrestling are things that go completely beyond, my frame of reference, other than like reading books about it and like catching the occasional YouTube video. So I thought, hey, as a person who really gets into the modern era of wrestling, right, post kayfabe, for you, those of you who don't know what kayfabe is, that's a whole lesson there. I figured, let's get me some wrestling history. Let's learn how to appreciate the entire breadth of television wrestling. And today we're going to start with one of the classic television wrestlers, and that is a man named Georgeous George, who wrestled in the 1950s. He is known as one of the big names that hit the American consciousness on television. And he's also known as one of the big heels. If you're not into wrestling already, that's a person who makes the audience boo at them, because, the louder you boo for someone, the better they feel about it. So without further ado, let's go ahead and start this video. I will leave a link to this video if you want to watch it directly on YouTube, without me talking about it. But if you want to continue with me, let's go ahead and watch this match with Georgeous George.
Well, good evening, everybody. This is Russ Davis speaking to you from ringside at International Amphitheater in Chicago, where tonight the Gorgeous one, Georgeous George himself, the old toast of the coast, is meeting der Hans Schnabel.
Hans Schnabel.
Like our Jeffries has a new cutaway here tonight. This one is rather an orchid color. Too bad we don't have color TV. That is in widespread quantities. Jeffries is standing here at attention as if he were getting ready to pipe the Grand Admiral of the fleet aboard. George will be coming in from your right. We understand there's something a little special been added tonight. Well, there's some of the Andy Frame men who always precede him. And here it is. Georgeous George. One of the... Oh no, ostrich well, shades of Sally Rand.
Whoa.
Police. Ostrich feathers, no less.
That's stylish.
Say, aren't we done up beautifully? Now look, George, don't be sensitive because the customers are hooting and yelling. What else can you expect, dear boy? They're pink and white marabouts here. What on earth they are, I don't know. The note was just handed to me, but the robe is pink. Yeah, Hans, I agree with you, boy.
Yeah, that Hans Schnabel.
Yes, that's the guy you're going to wrestle, Georgie. And you want to be a little bit careful of him. He's got about as much horsepower as one of these big GE diesels. Good evening, George. A few Georgie pins for the peasants here. George strutting around in this pink satin. Oh, lovely. Looks like he has a new halo hairdo here tonight. Notice how it seems to make a little halo around his head? It will until we get in about, 15 or 20 minutes into the match. And then it will look like the original inspiration for the song Rag 'em Up.
Rag 'em Up.
After a hard day on the post office floor.
Do-do-do-da-da-do-do.
This match here tonight is rather a special arrangement. George, knowing that Hans is a great one to get into an opponent's hair, refused to wrestle unless Hans would let his hair be.
With a 60-minute time limit.
60 minutes.
The contestant in this corner from Los Angeles, California, weighing 240 pounds, Hans Schnabel.
There he is, the old powerhouse himself.
His opponent in the opposite corner, that toast of the coast, that human orchid, Georgeous. The referee, Sid Novak.
Well, Sidney Novak has had the nod for the refereeing chores on this match. And I do not use that phrase advisedly because refereeing a match between these two guys is going to be a big, big job. George wants to see Hans's back here. It used to be in the old days that wrestlers would anoint themselves to a considerable extent with oil of wintergreen, claiming, of course, that the oil of wintergreen had some sort of an antiseptic value, and I presume that it has. But the main idea was that the oil base which carried the wintergreen extract would help make them just a little bit harder to hold on to. Well, now, wait a minute, George. If your coffin looks at everybody else, they're going to have one at you.
Even better.
This boy Novak, during the other 8 hours of his day, when he works for a living, drives a taxi cab. And so he's not known as a gentle person either.
I mean, wrestlers have to do lots of jobs sometimes just to keep things going.
Me, I thought that gown was all one piece. Have a look. Hans is bound and determined to put his hands on George here, and George is just as determined that he will not. Just a moment, please, Mr. Novak. Look at that look on Novak's face as if to say, ah, nuts. Hey, George, he's got his hand on your shoulder. Honest to goodness. I've seen everything in the wrestling ring, but this beats most of it. Don't ever sell this boy Gorgeous George short as far as actual physical prowess is concerned. He possesses a lot of it. There's the bell, and we're off and running at International. This is Russ Davis speaking to you from ringside. This is the first time that we have happened to handle a match here where Hans wrestled Gorgeous George. I think this is the second time in Hans's career that he has met him. Once out on the coast. Well, there's a step out. George, leave us not start any skullduggery because you're fooling with the master of same.
Skullduggery?
There's a count of 4 in Illinois, which is employed to break an illegal hold.
4 count? Oh, illegal holds. Got it.
Better be careful, Georgie. Got a hunch that the old blockbuster will tie it on you here. Hans is going to bust him, and George knows it. You'll notice one thing, that Hans has not laid a hand on George's hair as yet. A little bit of this keeps up, and he'll get in his hair, don't worry. George refused to sign the contract for this match until he was assured by promoter Kohler that Kohler could deliver one qualification of the contract, that Hans did not pull his hair. Maybe George is getting tender-headed or something, I don't know.
Sometimes you
Maybe
just got to
the
keep your
flat
hair
toenail's running
like
short.
straight. Come on.
Oh, brother, did he get out from under that rope?
No pun
All right.
intended.
Hans made him squeal.
Lock up.
A run under hammerlock on Hans. There's a head scissors. George
Ooh.
flailed out of it. George, you're getting yourself all set up to get your hair pulled, boy. Still a hammerlock on Hans. We got more youngsters at ringside tonight than I've seen in a long, long while.
Oh my gosh, that's like a toddler in the audience.
Uh-oh, Hans finally grabbed George by his gorgeous locks.
Don't mess with the hair.
Hans was trying to set up a flying mare. It didn't work out. Look at that kid eating that hot dog so nonchalant. Oh, fine.
I mean, it's Chicago, so hot dogs are a big deal.
Oh, he hadn't got old Hans bent up yet by a long shot. Hans is willing to let him have that good hard right for absolutely nothing. I'm going to put my hands behind me and put you in a position of hitting a defenseless man.
George is
George.
sneaky.
Only about that time Hans found out he wasn't so.
Hit him in the head.
George trying for a double outside wrist lock, Japanese. Hans has come into the ring here tonight with a very heavy beard, and boy, is he roughing up George's face with it. Well, so he's pulling your hair. You've been pulling his. Contract or no contract. Those are rabbit punches right to the base
I don't know
of the
if I
skull.
agree with that. You've signed a contract that says don't
And
pull
knee
here.
lift.
Don't pull here.
Rather sent Georgie flying, didn't it, huh? Little short clips into Georgie's tummy there. Uh-oh, uh-oh.
Ooh.
Brother, that'll fix him. A little bit of that. Chin lock posted into a body press. Hans is really letting
Shoulder
him have
came
those
up.
rights.
It's like massaging George's belly or something with his fist.
George, you were pulling hair. Come on. Get up, boy.
I don't know if Hans asked for no hair pulling. But I guess some people don't like hair
Okay,
pulling.
so he punched you with a fist. He got away with it. Till you tattled on him.
Till you
Tattletale.
tattled on him. I'm just repeating what I hear.
He really cut loose with a big one there, didn't he? Here's a chin lock, reversed, or head-to-head, hobo fashion here.
Hobo fashion? What exactly is that?
Still the same detail. Chin lock, reversed.
But not like a hobo.
Slight problem involved here. George is cutting off Hans's wind. That's why Novak is breaking it.
I mean, as they say nowadays, if you can't
Instead of a
breathe,
chin
you
lock,
can't
it
fight.
has also come to include his mouth and his nose. Hard one right in under the heart.
That lady in the front is awesome.
You could hear that one splat all over International Amphitheater. Well, contract or no contract, Hans is going to get in his hair. Boy, he heaved him clear across the ring, and this is a 22-foot ring. There's George's version of the flying mare. Maybe. 1, 2, 3, and the first fall thusly goes to George's George
First fall.
with his own West Coast variety of the flying mare. That's the old original
I've never heard of the flying mare.
sticker some of the boys used to use before they started throwing it over their shoulder.
But honestly, I only know like
George is
names
still
of
a little
moves
bit
when
afraid here
someone
of
tells
Hans.
me what they are.
All Hans wants is for Novak to get out of the way for 2 minutes, and he'll alter the complexion of the situation. Bobby
Oh,
Burns,
that's a
he'll
microphone.
make it official.
I thought he had a hammer.
1 minute, 58 seconds with a flying headlock. Beware the first fall. Gorgeous George.
So there you've got the first fall in this proposed 2 out of 3 affair between this little lad right here, Gorgeous George, who at the moment is not so gorgeous.
I mean, we definitely
And
see kids
Hans
in audiences at wrestling.
Blockbuster Schnabel.
I guess I'm just surprised to
Who are you
see
calling
kids
for,
that look
George?
so small, and so many of them with this one family in the
Oh,
front.
Mr. Novak, he wants to put in a small complaint. Well, we'll wait while you do it. You mess up your coiffure?
Oh, coiffure. He's talking
Go
French.
on back and quit being a chronic griper, Georgie.
So watching now, I'm noticing that it's all
That's
from
it.
one angle.
Call
Like
in
they just have
Jeffries or
apparently
whomsoever
one
you
camera.
want to
I don't know
tidy
if I've
you up
seen
bit
a
if you
cut.
feel that way. We'll wait.
And you know, television cameras were expensive in the 1950s. So like, oh, commercial break.
Way George is jumping here, you'd think he's got on these pogo pumps, wouldn't you? That KF&O we're talking about here not too long ago. The Beulah Witch had gotten from somebody for a present.
I mean,
Well,
television
here's the
cameras
second
are
call
still
beginning.
expensive. But modern
No
shows
time
still
out
have
here
like,
while you get on a double girdle.
a lot of
Georgie.
cameras.
No more guessing games. Hans will not guess which hand the marble is in. Hans has the ropes, and Georgie had the trunks. Here's the press. Novak's telling him to break it up. What did he mash his little old Adam's apple then? Mercy me. Come on, George. Get up, boy. You haven't changed to a tenor. Well, Hans really landed on him, didn't he? There's a knee into George's ribs.
I just noticed the referee, and he's giving me like Fred Mertz vibes.
Uh-oh. A little bit of conniving on Georgie's part there. He came up with his leg lock. And Georgie changed his leg
And
lock
sometimes
into
you
a
just
toe
gotta.
here.
Well, like classic wrestling psychology is bad guys hurt body parts. So attack the knee
Several
if you
counts
can.
of one on Hans here.
Ooh,
You
using the
are
rope.
using the
Sneaky.
ropes. Get out of his hair, Hans. This agreement not to pull
That's
George's
additional
hair
pressure,
has
which
really
makes it
hampered
harder
Hans.
for a wrestler to get up.
Okay, Mr. Novak caught you then. Come on, Gorgeous. 1, 2. I'm gonna make him break it. No, you gotta get clear up, George. Okay, that handles the situation.
Okay, ref, let's just shove
pop
the
him in the
wrestler
chopper.
around.
Wait a minute, you may have to disinfect him, Hans. It'll slow the match up. Ooh, someone would have had pneumonia. Had they been an inch closer to that, either that or rigor mortis. The headlock on Hans. Check.
Ooh.
Georgie boy.
Those ropes are really bouncy. They feel like
managed
loose.
to work his way out. Where are you going there? Now, you leave all those people alone, George. They're
I guess by
quite
modern
right
standards.
in wanting to see you get all worked over here.
Ooh, is that a closed fist?
Seems like that things are getting a little rough for Hans, doesn't it? Oh, well, could be for George, too. Chinlock posted. Hans didn't let go of it. There's another one, and he's hanging tight to him. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Boy, there's a backflip from way back. 1, 2, 3. And the second fall goes to Hans.
Uh-oh. I think this is a 2 out of 3 falls match,
George,
so
all
whoever
bent
gets
out
the
of
next
shape.
fall wins.
Mercy me. Andy Frayne men are standing around waiting to keep the crowd off of him if and when he should wander out of the ring.
Drama.
Quit worrying about it, George. Hans is in his corner.
4 minutes, 20 and 1/2 seconds with a blockbuster. The winner of the second fall, Hans Schnabel.
No, Hans puts
Oh,
on
Hans
that
is definitely
blockbuster.
seen
I
as
don't
the
know
good
where
guy.
He got that name unless it just shatters a whole block of territory when a guy hits the mat after having had it put on him. Did you notice how he picked George up just right by the neck and placed his hand ever so lightly on his wishbone and then pushed? Well, something had to give. And George did.
Oh, George taking a break.
Hans keeps trying to follow Novak here. I think it's with the idea of getting within arm's length of George. He got him crippled up here. He wants to keep him that way all through the rest period. And, of course, one lick could very well do that. Well, we'll be ready to go here in the third and final fall in a minute now. Back you go.
Off, Fred.
Maybe some Trico windshield wipers would be better, Hans. It'd look a little odd wearing them, but it'd certainly save a lot of lost motion. Don't you think? Boy, he's a brute of a man. 245 pounds of it. There's the 10-second whistle. Wait a minute, fellas. You gotta wait till the whistle's done when. Yeah, and the bell's done blew. Okay, we're off and running again. And Hans is starting
Straight to
run.
the face. Jeez. Oh!
Possibly can. Oh, fine. Backbreaker in the corner of the ropes, and then a body slam. George is out of the ropes. Another body, no, another backbreaker.
Ah, right into the
Oh,
turnbuckle.
fine. Boy, has he got him loused
Oh,
up.
sending him out of the ring. The other side of the ropes.
Hans,
Yikes.
temper, temper, temper. Leave us not lose it.
And there's like not much of a barrier between, well, really not a barrier between the ring and the audience.
George trying to get back in. Hans is bound and determined he's not going to get back in. Get out of the way. Uh-oh, Novak's going to call it off here. That's one thing these referees in Illinois will not stand for. is being
Yeah,
roughed
Illinois.
up. The West Coast referees take a lot of abuse from these wrestlers, but in Illinois they have been instructed not to. And so Sid Novak has disqualified Hans. Match. Uh-oh, George.
Oh, a
Gonna bring a
chair!
common denominator
A
with
chair!
him here, it seems like. Lego, I'm gonna bust it on his head. Hans, you know, you're gonna wind up by being disqualified here for about 16,000 years if you keep this up. Now get out of the ring like Mr.
Don't
Novak
pull his
tells
hair.
you. George has won the match. There's his hand held high. George won it by disqualification because Schnabel started roughing up Novak. Go on, get out, go take a shower.
The referee disqualified Hans Schnabel, gave the fall the winner, Georgeous George.
I guess Schnabel's not as good a
Pushing
guy
him
as
out,
I
you might have to
thought.
ride in his cab someday. Get going, says Novak. Well,
Get outta
Georgeous
here.
George has won over Hans Schnabel. by virtue of a disqualification. George would have had one coming to him had he been permitted to use that chair he dragged into the ring. But I guess it's all over now but the showers.
It's all over now,
And the
but the
long trip
showers.
home.
So that is my foray into classic wrestling. That's my first foray into, I guess this would be the Territories era. Like, I don't know what comes before the Territories era. I think it's like Carnies. But this is Gorgeous George. He's like really a flamboyant figure. Something that I've been thinking about over my fanship of wrestling, right? Like I said, really wrestling is a new thing for me, is how androgyny or like gender is portrayed in wrestling. And usually like Gorgeous George here is really flamboyant. And if you didn't notice, the crowd was definitely jeering rather than cheering. It wasn't boos exactly, but it definitely did feel like jeers. And through the decades, I think that like men who had androgynous or feminine presentations in wrestling were seen as villains up until really, really recently. Like, there's a modern wrestler who wrestles for AEW, Sonny Kiss, who is gender fluid and, good. I'm glad that Sonny is presented in a heroic light. Whatever you feel about Sonny, Sonny is a talented performer and, really puts it out there, and really we need more fluid gender representation, speaking as a fluid person myself. So other things that come to mind, this is Chicago, and most of the wrestling that I have watched has been in Chicago. Mostly AEW shows, actually exclusively AEW shows. I do have some friends who wrestle on the indies here in Chicago, and there's a very strong indie scene. I just haven't been able to make it out to shows because like shows are hard to make it to when you're in shows and stuff, and like you work during showtime. But anyway, it's interesting to see this, as I mentioned, like the one camera setup, and it feels almost like a film reel, the way that the announcer is talking over it. Doesn't feel like the announcer is in the room with the action, but that might have been the case because, microphone and camera technology was bulky and hard to work with. Like I said, I saw that microphone and I thought it was a hammer. Another thing that I would say, comparing this to modern era wrestling, is that it's really like about grappling and hitting. And at the very end, we get like that threat of a chair, and I'm not sure how much chairs were used in this period. Like, this is the earliest match I have ever seen at this point, and it's just so different, just so different from the modern era where like tables and chairs and ladders and